Yeah, and boy, has this ever been a rabbit hole. Hello, everyone, and how are you all doing today? I hope that you're all doing very, very, very well. So, today we are going to be doing a live called Deep Dive, and we are doing it into Eckankar and their beliefs on soul travel because they have some very strange beliefs, and soul travel is one of the more interesting ones. So I thought it would be fun if we came on here, did a live dive. Hello, Joe. Good to see you. Glad you're here. And then that way we can get to know what these guys believe in more, deep dive it, see everything that they possibly believe about soul travel. So I have all of everything. I have their videos on it. I have an e-booklet on it, a very short one, by the way. I have the whole website. We're going to go through everything today. So for those who are maybe not 100% aware with what this religious movement / cult actually is, I do want to just do a quick little intro about that. So Eckankar is a new religious movement, and it was founded in 1965 by a guy named Paul Twitchell. It is a nonprofit religious organization, and it has members in over 120 countries around the world because apparently there's 120 countries in our world. And its teachings have been translated into more than 25 different languages. The exact number of members, known as Eckists, that's what they call themselves, is undisclosed, and it's very hard to try to figure out what that number is. The world headquarters and Temple of Eckankar's spiritual center, is in Chanhassen. I hope I said that right, but it's in Minnesota. Eckists believe contact with divine spirit, which they call the Ek, can be made via the spiritual exercises of Ek and the guidance of the living Ek master. Right now, the living Ek master is a gentleman that goes by Harold Klemp. It is held that the Ek masters are here to serve all life, irrespective of religious belief. Get more into that. The main Eckankar website includes a list of masters, and some are historical figures. So, a lot of people have apparently been a part of this. The most basic spiritual exercise is singing the syllable who. Okay, everybody do that with me now. Even if you're at home, I want you to go who, and then tell me if it did anything for you, because I've been doing it out here for weeks and nothing. A wide variety of spiritual exercises are offered in this cult. And the weird thing about this one, too, is that the members of the cult, or Eckists as they're called, are actually encouraged to create their own. Yeah, they do their own spiritual exercises. This cult runs very much like a Nexium, very much almost like an MLM, where you go in and then you almost do your own coaching, if you will. So they do their own spiritual exercises as well. Study of Ek books and written discourses, alone or in group, is also encouraged. However, there's no dietary requirements, taboos, or enforced ascetic practices according to them. This is what they say. However, as I just said, they are encouraged to study the religion and sing the song of Hugh, which they consider to be a love song to God, for at least 20 minutes a day. So although they say there's no enforced practices, they do kind of push people to do at least 20 minutes a day of enforced practices. Eckankar does not require potential members to leave their current faith to join. So one of the scariest things about this cult is that it preys on people of all religions. It doesn't matter what spiritual beliefs you have. It doesn't matter what God you believe is real. Apparently, that doesn't matter. You can still join this cult. They're all inclusive, if you will. And that's a very big issue. But the good news is that us atheists, we're safe, okay? They don't want us. So, I mean, we're good. Woo! There are a number of ceremonies that an Ekist can experience as part of the teaching, and even more spiritual exercises for one to become closer to God. Because Ek means co-worker with God. So the goal of the spiritual movement, if you will, is to get close to God, or Ek. They kind of go back and forth in terms of what they call this being, as possible. So you want to get real close. Today, we're going to discuss one of the more controversial spiritual exercises, and that is soul travel. We are going to be reacting to Harold Klemp giving us a speech about how to do this. We are going to be deep diving the website to find out more information, and then we're going to be discussing whether or not this is real, whether or not there's any scientific data to back this up, and why this is all very worrisome. I do strongly believe that Eckankar is a cult. It's a cult. And I hope that these deep dives that I do and the ebook readings that I am doing can showcase that for all of you, so that I don't have to sit out here and really say to you, hey guys, this thing's a cult. I want you to go through all of this stuff with me and come to that conclusion on your own. So without further adu, my fabulous, beautiful people, I am going to play my lovely, loved Eckankar's introductions. And then we're going to get right into it, because I, of course, do have one. Hello, anti-social media. Good to see you here. Good to see you. Yeah, he is very, very Jim Jones-like. And again, like I said, I want, as you're watching him for yourself and you're taking in what he's saying and we're going through all these beliefs, I want you to kind of come up with your own conclusions. I want you to decide for yourself, is this thing a cult? Is this guy a cult leader? Is he someone that we should be very, very worried about running this thing with apparently millions of members? So again, without further ado, let's go.
One of the advantages of Eckankar being out here again in the 20th century is that there are near-death experiences, out of the body, soul travel, astral projection. Sometimes seeing visions and all this. Most people, I would say in most cases, it's better people don't have these experiences all the time, because the people who do are generally unable to handle it. Very much out of balance. But to most of you who have had these experiences, they came unannounced, often before you even heard about Eckankar. You wonder, what happened to me? Am I going crazy? And you ask people, what happened? You ask a minister, he doesn't know. You ask people you respect, people who are into philosophy or psychology or one of the medical arts. They don't know. They've heard something about it. I think then sometimes you listen and watch a television program and then you say, oh yes, all these experiences that these other people have been reporting are true. Wonder, where can I meet other people like this? Often you can't, because when TV presents these people, they're scattered all over the country and they seldom give names and addresses. But one of the advantages here of Eckankar and the X seminars is that you can come here, you can meet other people who in one way or another have had experiences which are beyond what most people in the street have today. Says, we found out recently, it's like 1 out of every 3 people in America has had some kind of extraordinary experience out of the body, or not that they understood what it was, but they had the experience. We are here to tell them, to give them a frame of reference about what this experience means. The light and sound are directly from the voice of God. They are to uplift you spiritually.
Yeah, so that was one of his speeches, of course, about soul travel. He has several. So we are going to react to another one, probably one of the longer ones that I found, because thankfully, Harold Klemp has gone all over the place giving speeches. They've been recorded. He has a YouTube channel. You can find them everywhere. So let's see what he has to say about soul travel.
Yeah, our next story.
He reminds me of Ash Mufara, the guy that leads the On Passive scammy call. In terms of when I watch Harold Klemp, I personally don't really see someone with charm who's well spoken and incredibly intelligent. And so I'll be honest, I kind of watch this man like, why are people following this dude? Okay, we're reading.
Is
Okay.
about someone who's currently living in the United States.
Uh-huh.
But way back when,
Okay. They do.
when he was a second initiate, Uba, this means rich in African language, means rich. Uba, he wanted to soul travel more than anything, because as far as he was concerned, if he could soul travel, this would prove that Eckankar was real.
And it's not only as far as he's concerned, right? It is actually one of the very big things that they tell people. It's one of the main goals is to be able to do this soul travel out of body experience. It's supposed to be one of their spiritual exercises. So it would make sense that those who fall into this religion might put that together and go, okay, so if I can do this soul travel thing, that will prove to me that Eckankar is real, that I should follow Harold Klemp here, the Eck Master, and do Hugh and then get closer to God and all of this other stuff, then go and create my own courses and whatnot, and do master classes and get paid like it's an MLM. So I love how he puts this, because it's almost like he puts it on the person he's talking about. Like they just magically came up with the idea that if they could do soul travel, it would prove to them that Eckankar is real. But it's like, Harold, you kind of put that in their heads, though.
And that the Eck teachings were what they said they were.
Uh-huh.
So he's so desperate to learn to soul travel. He tried a fasting technique that his Christian father had taught him before the father had died. Of course, sometimes they come in dreams and tell you all kinds of things.
I literally know so much about this guy already. Like, I know that his father died. I know that he grew up Christian. I know that he wanted to soul travel, that he's joined Eckankar. Like, I'm always like, stop giving me these people's personal information. But I love how he's like, his Christian father told him before he died, people come to people in dreams. Now, I know I'm atheist, but I did grow up very, very Catholic, very, very, very Catholic. And I don't ever remember being told that people would come to me in dreams. So is it just like a Christian thing of other religions to be told that beings come to you in dreams? Like, let me know, because I'm kind of like, there's only some religions that believe in that.
And it was a 3-day dry fast. So Uba left the quiet and calm of his village, and he went off by himself. And he sat there for 3 days.
I purposely have not sped this up. I want you to get Harold Klemp in the raw, if you will, in the flesh, so that you can see what anyone who's in this cult that's in an audience right now is being forced to sit through. We all need to suffer here in order to kind of show, what it is like to be in this cult. Now, we only have a few moments of this man speaking to us, and I'm sure all of you are being driven insane because you're like, he is talking so slow. He pauses every 2 words. He talks weird. This is strange. But again, that's what anyone that is in this cult has to hear over and over again. He's the main speaker and the main person that everyone has to listen to. He's the Eck Master.
And absolutely nothing happened. Nothing. Nothing at all. So he came back. But what kept his faith in Eck, when he got back to town, this complete stranger comes up to him and says, "Your friend wants me to introduce, the stranger to Uba's religion."
So now we have this story where we have this young man that's gone off to fast for a few days, and some random person comes up to him and wants to wants to teach a stranger a religion. Anti-social media says this guy has about as much charisma as a drunken gangbanger. Yes. Yes. No food, no water. Nope. That's technically that would be a real fast, right? I have heard that some people do drink water during fasting, but let's be real. If he's from an African country somewhere, he'd probably off doing a real fast. We're not eating anything. My mom did after she died, what she appeared to you in a dream. See, now here's the thing, Joe, and I don't want you to get mad at me. Please don't get mad at me. Because my thing is, did your mom come to you in a dream, or did you just dream about that? Like, had a dream where you saw your mom and talked to her? See, and these are the things we have to ask ourselves. And either one that you believe is totally fine. Because, if it's a nice thought to believe that your mom came and visit you after she passed away, and that helps you get closure and get through, I don't want to wreck that. But at the same time, for me personally, if I went through that, I would probably just tell myself that I had dreamed it. Terrible dramatic pauses. He does. He said dry fast. Yeah. Dry fast technically means no water either, right? So I am assuming that there was nothing. Who knows? I was 12. But see, technically either could happen. I'm not here to tell you not to have any beliefs whatsoever. I'm not here to stop people from believing what they believe. I just want to make sure that they're doing so in an educational way. Don't fall for a cult. Ask yourself some questions, things like that. But, it's a nice thought. It is, even if you're 12.
And Uba says, "What friend?"
Yeah, no one's there.
And the stranger said, "The one who goes with you everywhere in town."
Okay, so now we have a situation where he's like, listen, you got a spirit following you, dude. So, I mean, I'd be scared.
And then this stranger described perfectly the Eckmaster Rebazar Tars. A long time ago, he served in Tibet. And Uba was looking at this and he said, here he was. He just lost his father. He had 2 toddlers at home and he didn't have a job.
So he was in a very vulnerable place, which tends to be when these cults like to prey on people, when they're down on their luck, when they need a miracle to happen. It's when they swoop in and say, well, we will give you that miracle.
And yet he had the company of an Eckmaster. And sometimes people wonder, if someone else can see the master, why can't I then? Because it isn't necessary.
Okay, but that makes no sense. I mean, I'm sorry, but if I had an Eckmaster as almost like a spirit guide or something with me, and then some stranger could see him and I couldn't, I'd be kind of offended. I'd be like, well, what the heck? He's supposed to be my Eckmaster, not this dude's. Why can't I see him? And then to just be like, it's not necessary is kind of a cop-out answer. Whenever my dogs die of old age, I usually dream about them. Waking up and realizing they're gone is always an emotional experience. It is. I didn't lose my dogs because they passed away, but I had to rehome them. And it took me a really long time you wake up in the morning, right? And you go, I got to go walk oh wait, no, I don't have dogs anymore. It's weird. It's a very strange experience for sure. It takes a while to kind of sink in. But like, imagine being like, listen, this guy's following me around. I just want to see him. And then they're like, no, sorry, you can't. Everyone else can. But you, that stranger over there, he can see him. You can't though. Ha.
Sometimes it would detract you from what your true goal is, which is going home to God. In some way, spiritually, it's better for you that you just know that the master or a master, one of the Eckmasters, is always with you.
So here's my question about that. All right, let's say that that's true. I'm going to be real. There aren't that many Eckmasters. I mean, let's say there's 200 Eckmasters, right? Which is a big number. And then you think about how many people are in this cult right now, or this spiritual movement, this religion, whatever you want to call it. That doesn't make sense. Or can they divide their spirit among many people so that they can follow 6 different people at a time, for example? It's just very, very strange. It's a strange thing to think about. It doesn't make sense. I'm just saying, question it.
But when Uba had this news that he had this friend, this invisible friend, going everywhere he did, he became more active in activities and also the spiritual exercises of Eck.
Well, of course he did. Jesus! Like, you basically helped indoctrinate him further into this belief system.
This is a recurring theme of those people who just keep trying in Eck.
Okay, so for those that don't know, Eckists believe that they have several lives, and they are reincarnated, if you will. And each life, you are supposed to like live and try to get closer to God. And then you kind of like, it's almost like a pyramid scheme where every life you kind of like get closer and closer to God if you keep working on being good at Eckankar. And then eventually you make it to being like an Eck master if you do all of these things properly over many, many lifetimes. And this is also why they believe in soul travel and in the soul. So the soul is a complete different being. They believe that the soul, as I say, can reincarnate to many different bodies throughout many different lives. And then the soul is what's working on itself, if you will, to be better, to be closer to God. If that kind of makes sense. And then the ultimate goal is to be one of these high up Eck masters. If not the Eck master, like Harold Klemp here, then they have, as I said at the beginning, a whole list on the website of like local Eck masters. There's even one here in Ottawa. Oh yeah, we have an Eckankar temple here. We have an Eck master here we can go to. They do worship sessions here in Ottawa. So like technically you could work up to being like that person that lives in a city and runs the Eckankar cult, almost like the priest, if you will, the priest of the religion. And that's the ultimate goal. And it's a way for them, just like if you're in a pyramid scheme, right? And they tell you that you could be the girl on stage that comes out and gives the speeches and lives in a $5 million house and doesn't have to work to make money because everyone works, you know? And they're like, yeah, you want to be that girl? It's the same sort of thing. Like you want to be an Eck master. You want to go and have your own like temple. You want to be able to give Eck classes and coaching sessions and do all this sort of stuff, like as if you're an MLM Hun. So if you were questioning this faith and then some stranger came up to you, because I mean, this guy's obviously a little bit into this faith already. He has some of the same belief systems, believing that, you know, you can soul travel or that spirits exist, that kind of thing. So it wouldn't be that hard for him in his downtime to then have some stranger approach him and be like, hey, did you know that you have this like Eck master spirit that's been following you around and making sure everything's going to go okay for you? And as long as you do what he wants you to do and be a good Eckist, then your life will be great soon. Just follow this Eck master that doesn't actually exist. It's really just Harold Klemp telling you everything. You know, it would make sense that you could then fall deeper into that belief system just because you're desperate for something. You need something to help you now. Oh, I see how this works. When you work reincarnation into the scene, any of these icky people can approach a person down on their luck and say, you've always been a believer. Well, see, and that is the thing, right? Is once you bring up past lives, then it gives these people the ability to say, did you know that in your last life, right? So then you also have that element at play. So it becomes very, very easy, of course, if you're already like down on your luck, questioning your faith. This guy he's talking about was Christian, and he was obviously down on his luck. His father had just passed, like he's questioning his faith, right? And so he's doing fasting, dry fasting at that. He's obviously really in desperate need of someone to basically come and say, yes, God's real to him. That's what he needed. And so then this stranger shows up and says, well, there's an Eck master that's hanging with you, dude. Y'all are spirit buddies. He'll show you the way. So of course this guy is then going to be like, oh, that's the sign I was looking for as I was sitting here fasting for several days, down on my luck, this magical stranger, right? And it's just, it just becomes a whole fuck nut. He's the evil Mr. Rogers. Honestly, Joe, that is the best description for this man. Like, he does look like Mr. Rogers. Although, yeah, he's the evil version. The reason why your life sucks is because you're not practicing Eck. Every incarnation of your life practiced Eck. See, and that's the thing. You have to get closer to God. In your past lives, you were getting closer to God, you know. He's a creepy Mr. Rogers. And like I said, I have a very hard time listening to him with his long pauses. And at first, the first few times I watched him, he didn't have notes available. And so I was like, is he doing these pauses because he's trying to think of what he needs to say next? You know what I mean? Because he's just lying about religion this whole time. But now I'm like, maybe he is just trying to do dramatic pauses. I don't know, because he's got notes there. So should have done all his thinking before he came out here with the bad.
You double down. And then one night, after doing his spiritual exercises, he had gone back to bed, and before he knew it, he was out of the body, just as smooth and easy as you please. And there was such ecstasy, so much ecstasy with his state. Uba felt so good, puts his fist in the air and he says,
okay, so the first thing I want to say is remember how he has now said that this man was just, approached by a stranger, told that he needed to practice this. So he started practicing it that day, went to bed, did soul travel. Easy peasy, right? Didn't have to do anything to work his way up there. Didn't have to sing Hugh for months before he could do it. Just remember that. Remember that as we go through what all you have to do apparently in order to do soul travel. That it was just very easy for this one man. Another thing I want you to notice is how he's describing this and telling this story. I assure you, Harold Klemp is not a great storyteller. We have been reading through some of his e-booklets. If you don't believe me, I've done 5 e-booklets of his. You will see he's not a great storyteller. And when he's telling this story, he really puts himself in the position of this young man. Some might say that that's just because he's maybe incredibly empathetic. So upon telling the story of someone else, he can put himself in their shoes and speak as if he was them. I, however, personally believe it's because it's a made-up story that he just wrote himself, and so it's very easy for him to then wear those emotions. But I mean, believe what you want to believe.
It works, Mahanta, it works. And that was when he was still out of the body,
Okay. So wait, did he oh crap, I hit the button. Did he then come and see you when he was out of his body? Is that what he just said? I feel like that's what he just said.
After doing his spiritual exercises, he had gone back to bed, and before he knew it, he was out of the body, just as smooth and easy as you please.
I have to hear it again.
And there was such ecstasy, so much ecstasy with his state. Uba felt so good, puts his fist in the air and he says, "It works, Mahanta, it works." And that was when he was still out of the body,
Okay, so yeah, he's implying here, because remember, this is Harold Klemp. He's the Mahanta. He's the living Eckmaster. That's the Mahanta. So he's implying that this dude did his Ek practices, went to sleep, did soul travel, and then came to him and was like, woo, look at me, Harold. Look, I'm doing it, bro. Look at me. And he saw him in this soul state of out of his body. And he giggles like, that was when he was still out of his body, guys. He came and saw me. Am I supposed to believe that every single time that someone soul travels, this man can see them? I need to know. Good thing we're deep diving, right?
He said, Ek works. Thank you, Mahanta.
Oh, you know what, guys? Gotta cancel the stream because he just proved it. Guess we don't have to deep dive. It's proven. Harold here says that guy said it worked. Bing, bang, boom. It works. We should all just believe it. Time to play the outro. No, I'm just joking. Obviously, I'm joking. Jesus, Harold. Like, that's it, really?
And these soul travel experiences went on for many more nights, and then
yeah, right.
Slowly, ever so slowly, they began to let up. And then
this whole thing's a trick.
Later he wondered, years and years later, he said,
okay, so now we're implying that he was just able to do this every night after. No, right, he just joined this thing. Did some exercises, and went to bed. And now he can just do this. Easy, I guess.
Why can I soul travel now? Because usually when people soul travel, it's in one of the lower worlds where he was as a second initiate.
And don't you worry, we're going to get into all of the worlds, all of the world levels that you have to climb in the cult.
That's where you are spiritually. But as you get into the higher areas, you no longer soul travel.
See how he says as you get into the higher areas? That's why I'm saying this cult is very much like Nexium. It has levels that you have to reach.
But your expansion and your maturation, as your
indoctrination, the manipulation, all the same.
Move toward your goal, returning to the kingdom of God.
Again, that's the goal. Return to the kingdom of God. Go live in heaven and then be a Mahanta. Because apparently, of course, this man here has achieved that. According to him. That's why he is now the Eckmaster.
It takes other forms. Now it'll be different for each one of you. Some of you will, have guidance through intuition much more than before, or some other way you'll just know. And so we say at a certain level, it's seeing, knowing, and being.
Again, it's manipulation, indoctrination, and confirmation bias. But again, we'll keep getting into that.
If you're not there yet, just keep trying.
Oh, and that's how he ends it, guys. So think about that. If you're not there yet, just keep trying. Keep trying. You'll get there soon, okay? I promise you that you will get there soon. You got to just keep on trying to soul travel. Haven't soul traveled yet? Don't worry about this dude, okay? That was just fasting, and then some stranger came up and told him about Eckankar and soul travel, and then he just did some hew and went to bed that night, was able to do it every night after that. Don't worry about that. You just got to keep trying, okay? It's lack of trying. You're obviously not being a good enough Eckist because you're not doing the soul travel. Lord help us all, right? Lord help us all. So without further ado, I give all of you gateway to soul travel. Spiritual exercise, a gateway to soul travel. If you want to learn to soul travel, do this technique tonight. Before sleep, shut your eyes and place your attention on the spiritual eye. It's right above and between the eyebrows. Then sing you. Fill your heart, mind, and body with warm love. This feeling of love grants the confidence to venture into some new, unexplored area of your spiritual being. A way to fill yourself with love is to call up a warm, comfy memory, like a child's hug or a mate's kiss. Just so the feeling warms your heart with deep love. Now, eyes still shut, look into the spiritual eye for the holy person who is your ideal, whether Christ or an Eckmaster. In a gentle voice, say, I give you permission to take me to the best place for my spiritual good. Then chant, God, or some other holy word like probably not that one. Next, see yourself in a familiar place, like a special room in your home. Be assured that the guide who comes is a dear, long-standing friend. My name is Harold Klemp, and I'm your friend. Do this session 5 or 6 times over as many days. Record your experiences with this spiritual exercise in your dream notebook or journal. This has been brought to you by Eckankar, the Path of Spiritual Freedom. Yes, so that is one of the exercises that they do. We shall be going through them because on their website, they have listed several. So I have put together little videos of each one as we go through. It will be so much fun for us. Joe says, what bullshit? I say, I agree. And pay $97. Yes, pay $97 to join our cult. And then we will help you get closer to God. That's pretty much what they're doing here because, again, spiritual classes. I'm just saying. So now let's check out what the website has to say because that's fun for all of us. And if we are going to be deep diving this, we need to deep dive everything. As you see, there is an entire area on their main website here, which if you don't know is eckankar.org on soul travel because it is one of the main exercises that they do to work on getting closer to God. So expand your consciousness. Soul travel. What is soul travel? And by the way, guys, like, here's the thing. We still have our friend, the Eagle here. He keeps showing up and he doesn't have a name yet. So can you please tell us, what are we naming this guy? He's going to get upset. So please let me know. And for my replay crew, tell me in the comments, what are we naming our eagle friend here? What is soul travel? Soul travel is a shift in awareness, a change in consciousness, moving closer to God. Although in truth, soul doesn't actually go anywhere. I mean, why would that be? Soul travel describes the experience of accepting greater states of being, broadening your viewpoint from even higher vantage points, brings upliftment, problem-solving skills, and endless opportunity for spiritual adventure. A close cousin to dreaming, because I guess they're family now or something. Soul travel is a natural ability. In other words, everyone Everyone has the ability to soul travel. Lovely, right? So here we have a quote, of course, because as we go through, we're going to have quotes from people, not only Harold Klemp. This is a quote from AW. Who's that? We don't know. And they say, I had my first conscious soul travel experience with the light and sound. I felt such peace and joy. There are no words to describe it. I felt complete freedom, and the light was so bright, I felt I became the light. I could actually feel waves of love fill my entire being. So, yeah, that's, I guess, what happened to them during their soul travel. Then we have here, it says, inner journeys beyond astral projection. And here's this lovely picture, which, I love the colors that they use in this cult. It's beautiful. Out of body and near-death experience are forms of soul travel. However, you don't need to be near death or consciously out of your body in order to benefit from soul travel's transformative effect. Well, that's good news, right? I mean, I'm glad I don't have to be near death. People who will have experienced soul travel often say it happened to them spontaneously. They'd like to return to that blissful state. Soul travel is a spiritual practice that enables you to explore the vast inner worlds of your own being whenever and wherever you like. Yeah, so you can just soul travel whenever and wherever you like at all times. And that is the good news. It's a lovely picture of the flat earth. The good news, Joe, is that we found out that they don't think that the earth is flat. But I guess you can soul travel for any reason at all. Healing from grief via soul travel by Harold Klemp. A woman I'll call Donna found Eckankar after her son Justin's death in a motorcycle accident. She was very close to her son. Devastated by her loss, Donna was unable to find comfort at church. She regularly cried through the entire service. If only there was a way to feel closer to God, and maybe He would help her understand why the accident had occurred. More important, where was Justin now? Was he all right? What do you mean he was dead? Anyway, she constantly prayed for help. 5 months later, while at her lowest ebb, she had an experience that changed her life. At first, he thought it was merely a dream, but it was actually soul travel. Donna awoke in vivid consciousness in other worlds. A bespectacled woman with gray streaks in her dark hair met her, and they talked for a few moments. "Do you know my son, Justin?" she finally asked the woman. "Of course I know him," said the woman. "He lives right over there in that white house." The scene was a normal setting of cottages, such as near a lake resort. Donna and Justin had a long conversation. He assured her his health was better than it had been on Earth. And looking closely at her, he said, "Bitch, get me out of here. Why am I dead?" No, I'm just joking. "I know what you're doing to yourself. Please stop. You're only hurting yourself." Before they parted, she asked to hold him in her arms, since she didn't get a chance to do so before his death. Laughing, he said, "Okay, Mom." Soul travel had put her right there with her loved one. She could actually feel him in her arms. Then she awoke. It was all a dream. Justin's scent still lingered with her, and a peaceful, happy feeling lasted for weeks before it began to fade. Donna was now determined to learn where he was. Somewhere on Earth, she knew. Somebody had the answer. That's when her sister introduced her to Eckankar. The first book she read was A Spiritual Notebook by Paul Twitchell, the modern-day founder of Eckankar. It convinced her that here was the answer to her prayers. Here was an explanation that made sense. Grief of her son still overtakes her on occasion. She wants the Mahanta, the living Eckmaster, to help her regain the peace felt while with her son during soul travel. So she does the spiritual exercises of Eck daily, and she directs her efforts to seeing the light and hearing the sound, keys to the secret worlds of God. Expert from Spiritual Wisdom on Relationships. So now we have explore higher realities. Want to access dimensions beyond the physical world, the astral, casual, mental, and etheric planes, and ultimately the pure worlds of God? Through the spiritual exercises of Eck, you can learn to raise your state of consciousness and enter into these higher planes of reality. Each spiritual plane has corresponding sacred mantras. Chanting these during the exercises raises one vibrations for soul travel. You can then access wisdom hidden within each plane of reality. Yes, that's right. And you will notice it says, view a chart with these planes and chants. And don't you worry, my friends. We are going to view the chart, because it literally, it's pretty fun. We do have to understand the God worlds of Eck if we want to understand the soul travel. So here we go. Good luck, good Lord, back from dog walking, listening. This is a mess. Yeah, it's quite the cult. Brought to you by Tiny Dinger Condoms. Everything is brought to us by Tiny Dinger Condoms on this channel. So, as you see, it says the God worlds of Eck. And it interests me that they call them God worlds. Right? It's a little weird. The God worlds can best be described as planes of reality. Each plane corresponds to a certain state of consciousness and vibration. Then you have inner roadmap. This is a roadmap. You need a whole fucking map for this shit, okay? You don't want to get lost. To the inner planes or heavens. You can use this chart to plan your spiritual travels, or to better understand where you have been or what you have experienced. So if you're a teenager and you want to go and maybe hang out at Hogwarts, you could then sit down with this and you could plan out your spiritual travel experience if you are in this religion. Now, you may have heard Harold there in our little reaction video that we just did talk about the lower and higher worlds, and how in the lower worlds, you apparently do a lot of soul travel, and in the higher worlds, you don't need to. But then for some reason, we have them all on the God chart, and then we talk about how we can soul travel to all of them. So I don't know. We're going to try and figure it out, because there are lower and higher worlds. There is a bold line dividing the top half and the lower half of the chart. This separates the lower worlds from the higher God worlds of Eck. And this is the chart here. This is the line they are talking about. This big blue line. Everything is very blue and yellow and purple, right? Beth hasn't played her mid-roll yet. No, I will. Don't worry. We have to every time. So here we have the lower worlds down here. And as you can see, we have physical, astral, casual, mental, and etheric. Those are the lower worlds. And then you get up here and you have like Atma Lock, soul plane, Alak Lock, Alea Lock, Hukakat Lock, Agam Lock, Anami Lock. I am very, very sorry. I apologize. I know I am butchering all of these. I apologize. And then next to it, you have the like chant that you're supposed to do. So, for example, instead of saying "you," because you apparently only do that for these the top one here, you would basically, if you were here at casual, you would go ma, or you would listen to tinkling bells. If you're in the mental world, which I think I'm just stuck there, yeah, you sing for 20 minutes a day, and then you would listen to running water, which I'm sure if you're like me would make you have to pee every 3 seconds, but whatever. So again, higher worlds, lower worlds, higher planes, lower planes, they also call them that, and the lower are apparently self-realization, and you have to work up this chart to get to the higher God realization. So that's kind of explains the chart a little bit. And they say the higher worlds are positive, of pure spirit. The lower worlds are material or negative, and it's mixed with degrees of spirit. So again, like, imagine having to memorize all this crap. I'm just saying, I have a hard time, and I'm deep diving the damn thing. If I was in this call, I would be lost. I would be lost out there in some God world, in some plane. My spirit would never come back to me. We would have to send a search party. It would be awful. So again, mixed with degrees of spirit, this is noted on the left side of the chart, like I just said. So they have negative and positive, lower worlds, higher worlds. As you move upward through the worlds, again, like this is an MLM and you got to get through levels, each successive plane has a greater proportion of spirit to matter. So it's like this, the spirit kind of like takes over. It's hard to explain. This is the best that they do of it. The right side of the chart shows that the lower worlds are the training ground for self-realization. And you, of course, have to go through all the self-realization in order to get to the higher worlds, which are the training ground for God realization. And that's why everything's about being closer to God as well, because you are doing all of these steps to do this, like, God realization. Listen in the bathroom. That there you go. You could just sit on the toilet. I'd be on the toilet the whole time, just going with like the sink going, like, yo, am I closer to God yet? Because I'm closer to getting out this deuce. I'm just saying. So then it says planes, chants, sounds. And yeah, this thing goes, it's color coordinated and everything. And this is why I'm like, imagine having to like memorize all of this. It's very much like having to memorize an MLM top diamond tier pyramid chart. You're like, what? Wait, I have to like color coordinate and do chants and their sounds. And then I got to do exercises to move up the pyramid to God, I guess. So planes, chants, sounds. The first column gives the names of the planes. Next to the name in the second column is the word to sing or chant to go to that plane. In the third column is the sound you might hear or recall if you have traveled there, which, like I said, I've also heard that is the sound that you're supposed to be listening to in order to get there. And there are also brief descriptions of what each lower plane is about. So, for example, the physical plane, where soul is trapped by the 5 passions: lust, anger, greed, vanity, and attachment. Planes of time, space, and matter, illusion of reality. Colors. The chart also shows the color associated with each plane, the color you may see or recall as predominating there, which is also sometimes people have described it as the light that they see. You know how people always say that they see this bright light whenever they do something like this? It's a near-death, out-of-body experience. We've talked about that on this channel before and sort of deep dove that before this, which is why I did it. So it's also like the color of the light. So those who are going to the etheric, like soul travel experience, they would see like this purpley color here. And that would be the shade of the light that would like appear to them when they get there. Inner temples. Each of these worlds or planes has one main golden wisdom temple and many minor temples in which you can study. Yay! I love schoolwork. I totally want to just study all the time. Temples. Oh shit, that's what I do, isn't it? These temples and the Eck masters who teach there can be found in Eck Wisdom Temples, Spiritual Cities and Guides, A Brief History. Get the book today, Navigating the Inner Regions. To understand a karmic pattern you've noticed or understand a past life, because again, past lives are also a part of this, and understanding your past lives helps you move up, you might want to go to the casual plane. And to do that, you could chant the word mana. If you've had dreams where you see orange items or were bathed in orange light, see the light, maybe it has something to do with the casual plane. Or maybe during a spiritual exercise, meditation, or prayer, you hear running water inwardly, an indication that you might be on the mental plane. Again, I think I'm just stuck there, and that's why I always have to pee. But think about it like this. So anytime you have a dream, there's going to be colors in your dream. And then these people are going to be like, oh, there was green. You were in a field, a lot of green in that dream. Cool. You were obviously on the physical plane. That kind of thing. It's very easy to kind of trick people into believing that they've done this soul travel. Hugh! Sound of all sounds. Well, we wouldn't be covering Eckankar if they didn't give us a little blurb on the song of God here, which is used for everything. Like they say, it's the sound of all of the damn sounds. It sounds like MLM trading. It does, doesn't it? It's exactly what it sounds like. What if they're colorblind? Funny story. My husband's completely colorblind. My daughter might be partially colorblind because there's a couple colors where I'm like, no, girl, you got that wrong. Yeah, I don't know what you would do for that. I guess you would be very lost. You would be lost in the astral planes, and maybe you would be the one that needed the search party instead of me. I don't know. So Hugh, sound of all sounds. Notice that Hugh is both the word to chant and the sound you'll hear on the Anami lock. This is because Hugh encompasses all the worlds and all the sounds of existence. And the funny thing is that whenever they're doing like these teaching exercises too, they'll tell people that on any of these levels, they can also sing Hugh. So that gets confusing to me, especially when Hugh is the like sound that they're always chanting all the time. It's like they should have come up with another one for the top of this chart to incorporate all of these worlds and then had Hugh be the song of all sounds. I feel like that would have been less confusing. But we are talking about a cult, which ultimately does try to confuse you so that you never figure it out. So what do we expect? Direct experience of light and sound. Maybe now we'll find out about the color blindness. I don't know, Joe. I guess they didn't think about that. Really threw them a curveball there. Learning to recognize, understand, and work with the light and sound of God is one of the most unique and exciting aspects of Eckankar. That has yet to be decided, but anyway. Becoming attuned to the sounds, visual characteristics, and vibrational rates of the God worlds via soul travel is an aid to achieving self-realization and even God realization in this lifetime. This lifetime, because you don't want to have to do it in another lifetime. That would be annoying. You've already apparently been trying for several lifetimes, okay? So, like, come on, get it right this time, would you? Open to your full potential. Because if you're not in Eckankar and you're not doing these things, guess what? You're fucking boring. You live like shit. All right? You're what? You're not out here trying to get closer to God? You're not trying to figure out the world? Trying to figure out everything? Hey, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you doing it? Those other people that aren't in Eckankar, they're all just running around, not even getting closer to God, singing you. They're a mess. Today is a special time in the history of mankind. And again, you'll read this any day. So I guess it's just every day is a special time in the history of mankind. Yay! It is now possible to speak openly of past lives, dreams, and soul travel because this cult exists. Isn't that great? Explore the God worlds and pursue the fulfillment of soul's ultimate destiny. A window of opportunity is open, and it has opened for you. Yes, you heard that right. For you. You watching this. It is open for you. Are you scared? I was a little bit scared when they first told me that. I'm just saying, like, I kind of was scared. I was like, me? I don't know. The descending shepherd's tone is the sound of all sounds. If you listen to it for too long, you'll get physically sick. You know what? There are actual sounds of that. There is several sounds that will actually make people sick. The windmills that they put up in my hometown used to make people sick because apparently it was doing this like humming noise and people were like getting ill all the time from it and that. So yeah, there are lots of tones that can actually make people sick. It would be hilarious if we found out that he was one of them. Joe's scared. Poor Joe. We've scared Joe. What are we gonna do? Yes, it is very scary to me. So here, of course, we always have these fucking quotes by this man, right? And it says, soul travel transcends astral or mind travel and rote prayer, elevating one into profound spiritual areas. Whenever soul reaches the far orbits of the inner planes through soul travel, the human heart opens to God's all-consuming love, because that's what you want, and that's what you need to know. So that so far is exploring the God's world. Explore the God worlds, the Nyrat technique. In using this technique, you will find the path to the other worlds illuminated by soul's own light, much like the headlights of a car cutting through the darkness of night. Illuminate the road ahead. The Nyrat technique utilizes the seeing power of soul. Sit in silence, with the attention fixed on the spiritual eye. Put your attention on the light of God, the white light within the door of the spiritual eye. This is the subtle gateway to the astral world, the first door you will pass through on the way to the higher worlds. With your attention fixed on this door, look obliquely, not directly, at whatever appears on the screen of the mind. If you look at it directly, it will disappear. But if you look at it from an angle, the image of the light will stay. Now, very softly begin to practice the Zikar, the repetition of the holy names of God. Sing the word for each plane that you must pass through in order to reach the soul region. These are Alei, physical plane, Kala, astral plane, Mana, casual plane, Om, mental plane, Baju, etheric plane, and Sugmad, soul plane. By these sounds, you are able to lift yourself up through the corresponding planes into the soul world. The light of God appears on all planes, but the light that should interest you most is the blue star. It will come into focus after the technique has been practiced for a certain length of time. The star represents the Mahanta, the living Eckankar, who will later appear in his radiant body. Sometimes the master appears as a blue star, sometimes as a misty pale blue light. The star or light will lead you gently through the various planes into the soul region. You must trust it completely, never being doubtful or hesitant about following it, nor wondering where it may lead you. Take it. As soul gets collected and concentrates on the spiritual eye, you will have some preliminary experiences of the inner sounds and sights. These occur before soul is settled down and actually traveling in the inner worlds. You may hear sounds similar to a moving train, whistles, or stringed instruments. Then you will hear sounds like the tinkling of small bells, progressing to the ringing notes of a large bell. Following this are lights similar to the glowing of charcoal, then lightning, and finally the gigantic star. Then you are able to see a whole starry sky. You see the lightning and moon worlds, and you are ready for the ascent. You may see forms as mist, smoke, suns, fire, winds, fireflies, lightning, crystals, and moons. Your attention may be scattered at this point, but bring it back and focus again on a single point. This has been brought to you by Eckankar, the path of spiritual freedom. Expand your consciousness. Expand your life. Which, I mean, I'm happy with my life, but maybe you want to expand your life. I don't know. Soul travel is also experienced as an expansion of consciousness. It can come as a sudden, out of the blue awareness or solution to a problem or issue. Basically, it can be anything. It's the answer for everything. Just like you. Everything is the answer for everything in this damn cult. This is you as soul, simply tapping into your own divine intelligence. As your consciousness unfolds, life around and within you will fill with more love, perceptiveness, and certainty. Soul travel makes it possible to achieve God realization in this lifetime. The first step is self-realization, to discover who you are and your mission in this life. Upon reaching this state, you can then move into higher realms of divine service toward God realization, the fulfillment of soul's sacred quest. Of course, right? Of course. Through soul travel, and this is from Sylvia, again, who's Sylvia? We don't know. Through soul travel, I have experienced the reality of myself as soul and have come into the unspeakable healing presence of divine love. I can lift my viewpoint above the mind and bring the attributes of soul to bear, creatively solving problems in my life. I am better able to live with my heart in heaven and my feet on earth, soul bridging the two. And yeah, that's again from Sylvia. No clue who that is. They just say, Sylvia! I could put a quote and be like, Queen of Spade is the most amazing anti-cult YouTuber on this whole platform, said by Sylvia. And apparently it would be okay. I don't know. So that's their experience. Now you might see these. This is literally what I am doing the little videos on. So don't think we're skipping it. Don't think we're skipping it, y'all. Okay, we're not. And then at the bottom of the soul travel page, you will see the whole reason why, again, we are here, which is to do the classes. When you click on Start Your Eck Adventure, you sign up for the classes. And it says, make a giant leap in consciousness. Eckankar's spiritual self-discovery courses will help you take a giant leap in consciousness through practical techniques for soul travel. Uncover your purpose in this world and experience personal proof of your eternal nature. Yep. And apparently they're replacing our buddy. Guys, look, they're replacing our poor friend. They've replaced our poor friend, the eagle, with seagulls. Now, this quote is apparently from Nigeria. The whole place? I don't know. Someone named Nigeria? Again, not really sure. All it says is Nigeria. My first conscious soul travel experience convinced me without a doubt that the teachings of Eck are real. It also steered my curiosity into the spiritual life. Soul travel has helped me develop well-rounded and balanced solutions to issues. It creates harmony in my life. Yep. Again, that's all you need to do. As long as you do soul travel, it proves that Eckankar is real. And what is the point in proving that Eckankar is real? To get people to sign up to these classes and then pay money to do these exercises and go to retreats and whatnot and create their own classes even in order to work up the soul travel experience so that all of them can be closer to God. Now, I want to go back up here because what you will see here is your spiritual experiences are real. And on every single page, they like to have a little like expert, if you will, right? So you said it, Joe. It was you. It helped you meet Ash when you got closer to God. Oh my God, imagine doing all of this work, right? Imagine doing all of this work to get closer to God. And then when you show up there, it's freaking Ash Mufar. You'd be like, I'm done. I give up. So I'm going to play this. Let's hear what he has to say. And it tends to mess up when I pause it. So I'll play the whole thing and then we'll talk about it.
There are so many of you seated right here in the audience who, in one way or another, once or twice in your lifetime at least, who have had some kind of experience that the average person doesn't have. Near-death experiences, out-of-the-body soul travel, astral projection, sometimes seeing visions and all this. To most of you who have had these experiences, they came unannounced, often before you even heard about Eckankar. And then you wonder, what happened to me? Am I going crazy? And you ask people, what happened? You ask a minister, he doesn't know. You ask people you respect, people who are into philosophy or psychology or one of the medical arts. They don't know. They've heard something about it. But one of the advantages here of Eckankar and the X seminars is that you can come here, you can meet other people who in one way or another have had experiences which are beyond what most people in the street have today. And I say most people in the street, and this isn't quite true, because as we found out recently, it's like 1 out of every 3 people in America has had some kind of extraordinary experience out of the body or something of this nature. Not that they understood what it was, but they had the experience. We are here to tell them, to give them a frame of reference about what this experience means. The light and sound are directly from the voice of God. They are to uplift you spiritually.
So yeah, one of the things that you may have noticed about that is that there was a lot of the very same speech that I had put in the intro that he almost repeats here. One of the things that this cult loves to do is it actually likes to repeat things. Just repeat things over and over and over and over and over and over again and hope that the repetition will almost burn it into your brain that this is all true. It is a cult manipulation tactic that is often used. And the issue with this cult too is that they don't have a lot of information control because it seems like they have a lot of quote unquote research that proves that this stuff is real by showing people's personal experiences, which is of course just other people in this cult that come out and say, oh yeah, I soul traveled last night. It was great. Yeah, that's because most people don't start a cult after a good old-fashioned intergalactic anal probe. I mean, I've covered a few. That seems to be a running theme in these is some weird belief system like that. And that's literally the whole page on soul travel. So they basically give you a little expert, tell you some experiences, blah, 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 blah. They give you these stories of little articles that we've been going through. And then at the bottom, like always, they say, Now join our Eckankar courses. Come take the courses. And as you see, when you click on this darn thing, it takes you over to sign up for the Advanced Spiritual Living courses. As always, we always end up here. What will you experience? This ever-expanding adventure can bring you personal transformation from the moment you begin. This includes monthly self-discovery courses with advanced spiritual techniques for private study, opportunities to explore the courses in small group discussion classes. Like, yay! Quarterly letter and updates from a God-realized teacher with timely perspectives, according to you, spiritual initiations, profound steps of enlightenment, a community of like-hearted people who respect spiritual freedom and love truth, opportunities for further spiritual training and service. Now pay us money and take the courses. I also want to point out again that this says like-hearted people, not light-hearted. Okay? Like-hearted. And the implication here is that all of them have similar belief systems. They're all very much alike. They all care. And they're all just out here trying to get closer to God. And they are all indoctrinated into the same cult. I mean, that has something to do with it too. When I found Eckankar, my heart said, home. And then again, Michigan. Michigan? Michigan? Who said that from Michigan? A person from Michigan? Again, we don't know. And then we have spiritual transformation. Again, the teachings of Eck, divine spirit, introduced by Paul Twitchell in the mid-1960s, weave seamlessly into who you are today. Of course it does. So fucking general that it could just go with any situation and any person. You don't need to change your lifestyle to live a rich spiritual life. And that's the big thing. You don't have to change your lifestyle or even your religion to be here. Enlightenment comes in a natural way from the inside out. You've always had this within you. All of you can soul travel. All you have to do is sing you or whatever mantra you got to say, and then you can just soul travel. Eckankar's membership program puts you in the driver's seat of your own spiritual journey. Join our members today. So again, it's all just about joining these classes and the Eck Mystery School. I feel such joy. Life has taken on a new rich meaning for me. Even the most minor events are moments of divine inspiration. Some DJ said that, I guess. And then we have this again. And all of this page is just start. True spiritual freedom awaits you. And you, the hero, travel on. Dun 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 dun. Eckankar, fuck yeah. So everything leads back to these damn courses. That's what they want you to do. They want you to pay them money to do these spiritual living courses and work up this weird God world's pyramid scheme to get closer to God. And then they have all of the things to indoctrinate you further into believing in all of this nonsense. Because I do consider it all to be nonsense. Insert red-tailed hawk scream. I don't know. I only have the rees. Not me. There are white hats and red hats, and then there are businessmen. They all get put in boxes, and they all come out the same. That's very true, by the way. That's very true. But, again, that's soul travel. This must be soul travel. But we're not done this deep dive yet. Don't worry. This must be soul travel by Susie Ontario. Or Ontario Susie? The comma's in the wrong spot. I was very curious about soul travel when I was new to Eckankar and wanted to experience it for myself. So, with great anticipation, I practiced my nightly spiritual exercises, hoping I would leave my body and travel the inner worlds as soul. But most of the time, I just dozed off to sleep and woke up the next morning with little recollection of any experiences. Boo. Still, I patiently wrote down in my journal whatever I learned from my dreams. This went on for a long time. Then one night, it happened. I was lying in bed feeling very relaxed. Quietly, I began to sing You, an ancient love song to God. As usual, I started dozing off to sleep. All of a sudden, I had the sensation of feeling feathery light, as if I was floating on air. I knew my body was in bed, and yet there I was, floating. With my eyes closed, I look around with my inner vision. There were trees everywhere. Then I knew I was out of the body, slowly floating toward the kitchen. I found I was in the middle of a forest. The wall that separated the bedroom from the kitchen was gone. I looked toward what was supposed to be the kitchen window. Instead of seeing the street, I saw a river surrounded by shrubs and trees and heard the sound of rushing water. Happily, I said to myself, "This is fantastic. I'm out of my physical body. This must be soul travel." Then I accidentally wiggled a toe on my right foot. Immediately, I was back in my body in bed. I remained awake for a while, trying to comprehend this incredible and awesome experience. It was so real. As I lay there, I thought, so this is what Eckankar is all about? It is a teaching to realize and know one's true self. I had proven that I am soul, a spiritual being that is separate from the physical body. It was the beginning of my conscious spiritual journey back home to God.
A spiritual exercise to try. Some of you want soul travel, which is usually an advanced state beyond the dream state. Again, sit on your bed or on the floor, shut your eyes, and look into your spiritual eye. This is located at a point just above and between the eyebrows. Don't expect to see anything there, just chant You, the holy name of God. Then spell out soul travel, chanting each separate letter. SOULTRAVEL. Do this about 3 times out loud and then 3 times quietly. That was said by Harold Klemp in The Art of Spiritual Dreaming.
Woo! That was Harold Klemp and The Art of Spiritual Dreaming, because in every single one of his amazing ebooks, he, of course, has this crap. So let's now talk about the Eck Wisdom on Soul Travel. This is his shortest ebook, by the way. It is the shortest one. I'm just going to listen, closing my eyes. I'm sorry I'm so boring. I'm putting you to sleep, Joe. I'm just joking. Let me ask my quails about this. They say no, that's not possible. People don't fly. I would personally believe them over Harold Klemp. Just saying. I'm just saying. So, soul travel. They literally have this ebook, Eck Wisdom on Soul Travel. And yes, you are supposed to get this. When you join this cult, you're supposed to get insert what? There we go. You're supposed to get all of their cult readings. People are like, why is she doing this? That's why. All of the cult readings are supposed to come to you. You're supposed to sit and study all of these. These are the books that they're talking about when they're like, study the religion. It's these e-booklets and these other books that we're going to be going through in future that make you go, what the hell is this? Mm-hmm. So it says, what is soul travel? To back up just a bit, what is soul travel? You are soul, an internal individual spark of God. Soul is the true self, the real you, one of a kind, on a divine journey back to the heart of God. So in the simplest terms, soul travel is an individual moving closer to the heart of God. Some people experience it as the apparent movement of the soul body through the planes of time and space. Yet soul exists on all planes. So what feels like movement or travel is simply coming into an agreement with fixed states and conditions that already exist in some world of time and space. In soul travel, you may experience a rushing sound like wind in a tunnel and the sensation of moving incredibly fast. But really, soul doesn't move. Soul is. Time and space. Adjust to soul's state of consciousness. Literally, that's how it ends. It's just like, soul is. End of sentence. Time and space adjust a soul's state of consciousness, and it is this adjustment of time and space that gives the impression of movement or speed. Wow, magic. Another form of soul travel is the expansion of consciousness. This aspect is the true state of personal revelation of enlightenment that we aspire to in Eck. It visits both the timid and the bold and is a gentler, less robust version of movement in consciousness. Most people experience this sort of gradual shifting of awareness. Just most, though. So, like, if you don't experience, you're just not one of those people. In the broadest sense, soul travel can be used in every aspect of your daily life. It encompasses much more than merely traveling out of the body. It is the expansion of consciousness which allows you to get along every day with more awareness of the greatest wisdom and understanding that is coming to you from the Holy Spirit, not the Eck. In this case, it's the Holy Spirit. They changed these names. Love and wonder define soul travel. The best. The best. Soul travel is thus of several dimensions. Some people describe it as a shift in consciousness. Out of the blue, some event happens to shed light on a spiritual matter that had mystified them. A shift in consciousness to a new plane fits in like a soft golden kiss of God. That's why it's called Golden Kiss of God. Oh, God. Then these lucky souls know they're the lucky ones. So again, if you don't go through it again, you're just not lucky. They know that they've had the best of good fortune and have touched the hem of divine love. Rather, it has brushed them. That sounds a little creepy, like you are being brushed. Ew. Soul travel, as stated, may also be of a more dramatic sort. I don't like drama, though. In this case, an individual transcends the human body and tastes the love and freedom that are birthright. What do you think it tastes like? Sugar, candy, bread, cheese. He rises in the other worlds. He, as in the Ek, I'm assuming, or God, or the Spirit. Each experience fits him because each is but a reflection of the individual's spiritual state. Oh, so it's the soul. People ask, why is it so important in Eckankar to learn soul travel? I mean, I'm wondering. Are you wondering? I am. Soul travel, in a broad sense, is of much value because it is a link to the expansion of consciousness. The rule of destiny holds that people at some time will begin to awaken to who and what they are. A knowledge of past lives may also open to them by way of dreams or déjà vu. A few catch a glimpse of future events. And déjà vu is something that we can all say that we've had. I feel like all of us have gone through something where we've been like, this is like déjà vu. Have I done this before? So it's very easy, again, to take these general things that a lot of people experience and then say that's because of your past lives and because of your spiritual journey here in Eckankar, right? And it's funny how they say a few catch a glimpse of future events. Like, not all, just a few. You can also be psychic if you're in this, I guess. With this higher state of consciousness comes a degree of perception, happiness, and a mental clarity beyond description, which again, this is why people want to do this, because they want to experience all of those things, right? If you are told that if you join this cult, you are going to get mental clarity, you're going to get happiness, you're going to be able to perceive everything perfectly, why wouldn't you want that? It's like they say this cult is like a pill you could take that just cures everything. It is a state in which an individual feels natural, where the individual says, this is what I am. I am soul. I am eternal, and I would like to stay here forever. So it's almost like being immortal. you're immortal, right? Because if you're soul, you are an immortal being. And that's more cool than just being an atheist bitch like me, I guess, who thinks that after I die, I'm just worm food. And there's nothing else after that. This is the one life. And that's it. It's an exciting, right, experience. Now, having proof that there is life beyond the physical body, the person constantly strives to return to this higher state. Because once you've experienced this amazing higher state, you want to get back. It's like being a drug addict and getting the first high and then always chasing that high. Right? Right. It is a state in which, I started to read another sentence over again. See, now I'm getting damn confused. I must be in a higher state. It's an exciting, interesting experience. And the way to bring it about is through the spiritual exercises. When ready for it, the student of Eck, which again, they say when ready for it. What would imply that someone's ready for it? There isn't a lot to go on. They basically just get people to continuously sing you, do these 20-minute exercises and all these other like exercises to be able to do soul travel. And then just randomly they'll be like, oh, you're ready for this now as a student of Eck. Just when they decide. So when ready for it, the student of Eck is given this experience in the other worlds of God, in the heavens, which are spoken of in the many different religions. And this again is how they encompass all religions, which again doesn't really make sense because several of the religions out there don't believe in this kind of thing. They may believe that you have a soul and that there's a life after death, but they don't necessarily believe that your soul has had, past lives and is to have future lives, or is an actual like being that can go and do soul travel and the likes. So then I have to question, well, how are they preying on every single religion? Really, though, are they telling people that maybe if their religion doesn't believe in something like that, like, oh, well, that's okay, you could still do it over here in Eckankar? It's a little confusing to try and figure out. But basically, they're like, yeah, it's just like all the heavens. The religion you're in, however you see God in heaven, yeah, that's what we're doing. We're getting closer to that person. Even though your religion says in order to get that closer to that person, you have to do other things, we're going to also tell you to sing you and work up these astral planes in a chart, and that's how you're going to reach heaven. Do you see how it could be like conflicting beliefs and conflicting views? And then you almost get into a weird situation as a person if you are in this thing and you have those conflicted views, where then Harold can then indoctrinate you into believing that the way of Eckankar is the real way. And he usually does that by bringing up that he based this religion on a lot of like ancient mantras and whatnot. And do you see how then this religion ends up taking over any religion that you're already in when you join this? So even though they say you can join this in any religion, it doesn't matter, they are still then indoctrinating you into this new religion. Don't let them fool you. So if you're a Catholic or a Muslim, for example, or a Mormon, for example, you cannot be in this and study this stuff and still have your same practices because there's conflicting things there. So then just, be aware of that. Obviously, this man is telling you some bullshit, all right? Because it makes no sense. So again, when they're ready for it, which I guess is just as they work up the planes, he decides, because everything's decided by Harold, or the upper Eck masters, if you will. There is a world of difference between knowing and believe. Oh, sorry. And once he has the actual experience, he comes back the knower. There is a world of difference between knowing and believing. So here's another goal that they want you to have, is that you don't want to just be a believer of this. You want to be a knower. You want to know it's real because you experienced this soul travel. And that should have proved it. As we heard, once you experience this soul travel, bing, bang, boom, Eckankar is real. You're supposed to just give it your all and believe. Then it says learning the soul travel, which again seems a little weird that we would need a whole area teaching us how to learn to soul travel, because that guy at the beginning of all this, in that story that he told us, he just had to get told by a stranger that a Mahanta was following him all around in spiritual form. And then he did like one song of Hugh, went to bed that night, and then was able to just do it. So I don't know, but I guess we got to learn to soul travel. Beginners in soul travel, which I guess we all are, like to stay close to the body. It gives them confidence. So the Mahanta, or another Eckmaster, will help them shed the human state of consciousness and stick to a short journey to a higher plane. I mean, you don't want to go on a big long trip or anything. You can't bring snacks. And who, again, we're quoting some random name. Excuse me. We're quoting some random name here in quotations. Like, who's Anne? Is Anne a real person? Probably not. Could we ever find Anne? Well, no, because it's in quotations. So that implies it's a fake name. But why wouldn't Anne want everyone to know this story about her? Because I thought that once you go through the soul travel, you're a knower and not just a believer. So then wouldn't you want to shout from the rooftops that you did this thing? So why are we like fake naming? Do you get what I'm saying? It's a little weird. But Anne here, she lived in an apartment, which I don't know. I guess that's relevant to the story. She had learned to soul travel in her dreams, but often wondered why she never traveled beyond her apartment building. I guess that's why. Because the bitch was just stuck soul traveling in the apartment. Like, I can't get out. How do I leave 410? I don't know. I just want to go on an adventure. But no matter what, I'm just stuck in the damn lobby of my apartment building. And I guess that's because her body was in bed in her apartment. She didn't want to leave it. We'll find out, I guess. Sorry. Getting ahead of myself here. Each time Anne fell asleep and awoke in the soul body, which is what they call it, because it's just, you're just borrowing your body, which is kind of a weird thing also in this cult. The thought that your body is just this borrowed thing for this lifetime. So then it becomes like, do people respect their bodies in this cult fully? Or is it just a vessel right now? And I wondered that. But so far, I haven't found too much to suggest that this thing is like disrespectful to people's bodies. It's just, I do wonder about that in terms of those who are in this cult and self-esteem and, you know, my body's nobody's body but mine, but I'm using it just to soul travel today or something, you know, like it makes me wonder, especially for young women growing up in this cult. Like, if the body is just seen as this thing that can be discarded, that's being used, that's a worrisome belief system to have. So every time she awoke in the soul body, she could see her physical body lying on the bed. Her routine was to walk through her front door and out into the hallway of the building. Then she'd wait. By and by, the inner master would appear from around the corner. So she's like just hanging out in her apartment hallway, I guess. Outside her apartment, I'm assuming. And then all of a sudden, some freaking master appears. He just comes around the corner like, yo, what up? We going on an adventure today? Where do you want to go? He'd say. Her usual answer was, I want to go to a golden wisdom temple. Yet the apartment building was the extent of her soul travel journeys. Damn it! She just wants to go on a big road trip, okay? Damn, take the woman. One night she asked the inner master why she never left her living quarters in her dreams. Please show me what I need to do. How did you learn to soul travel? He asked. That was kind of rude. I feel like he's like, oh, you don't know what to do? How'd you learn to fucking do this? You idiot. So she began thinking about the first time she had found herself out of the body, which would be horrifying for me. I would probably remember it. It would be pretty traumatic. I'd be like, what am I? I'm flying. What the? Finding yourself out of body. I guess we're just on to the next thing. I hope we continue with I need to find out if Anne here ever gets to the temple. During that initial experience with soul travel, Anne, oh thank God, sometimes they just drop characters in these books. Anne had walked into the kitchen and the bedroom to look around her apartment. Hey, this is great, she said. I mean, I hope you think your apartment's great. Each step of the way, she thought of what to do next. It took her a while in the dream state to think of chanting, was. Why the fuck would you? Have you ever been like walking around your house and you're like, you know what I really need to do right now? Just start chanting, was. Like, why would you just think of, you know what I mean? And this is why I say I think these guys are supposed to like memorize these charts and all these color coordinates and these different like mantras and chants they're supposed to do and sounds they're supposed to hear. It's a lot. It's a lot. Because you're just supposed to be going around and then go, I think right now would be a great time to start chanting Wabaza and then start doing it. It's weird. So apparently that's the spiritual name of the inner master. And this name took her a higher level. Not to a higher level. It literally says this name took her a higher level. Though her intuition urged some new experiment, nothing at first came to mind. But then it occurred to her to sit on the couch and do a spiritual exercise in her dream. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Jesus, Anne. Just think about this, right? You have the ability to soul travel and like go all around and visit anywhere you want to go. And instead you're like, do you know what I want to do right now though? I want to sit my ass on the couch and I want to do an Eckankar exercise. That's what I should be doing right now. Like, okay. Not what I'd be wasting my time doing, but we're not the same, me and Anne here, I guess. The spiritual exercise took her out of her apartment into the hallway where she had met the inner master. So again, we're back to where we started. We were doing that the whole time. That was the first and last experiment she had ever tried. What? Okay. Finally, Anne understood why the master didn't come up to her in the dream state and say, okay, we'll go off to a wisdom temple. I'll do everything for you. You don't have to do anything. Okay, now we're implying like, Jesus Christ. The dream master wanted her to use her own creativity and initiative. Yeah, of course he did. Most often, someone fails at soul travel or dream travel because of a fear of death. You shouldn't be scared of death here because you have 500 million lives and you're just working your way up to God, I guess. So there's that. But I love how they put this fucking quote. It's like, okay, we'll go off to a wisdom temple. I'll do everything for you. You don't have to do anything, Anne. You lazy bitch. You're just over here trying to get me to like, what, piggyback you all around to all these different planes? No, okay, you got to do some Eckankar exercises while you're soul traveling. And then I'll bring you to the temple. And calm down, jeez. Spiritual exercises for soul travel, because now we're done the story, of course. Why? This is what happens in these books. We tell a story that apparently proves that it does happen. And then we get on to spiritual exercises to make it happen. And then it's like, join our classes today. So when you step onto the path to God and you begin looking for the secret path to heaven, the way will be open for you. And the way lies through the spiritual exercises of heck, of course.
The spiritual exercise promote soul travel of the inner consciousness. Here are 4 exercises for you to try. Awesome. Fucking awesome. Because I needed all 4. So the first landmarks of soul travel. We got to get into it. We need to know every single landmark of soul travel. And don't worry, I just want to let you know, we're on page 5 out of 7. This isn't like the other Eckankar books where it's like 19 pages. I wouldn't do that to you. I promise. Although, if they did the bigger font like the other books, this one probably would be 19 pages. I'm just saying. So, first landmarks of soul travel. One way to leave the body via soul travel is to lie down after dinner when you are drowsy. There you go, Joe. You land down, drowsy. Tell me if you do soul travel. Plan to nap for 5 minutes and watch the process of falling asleep. If you try the exercise with your spouse, imagine doing this before kinky time, like, I will meet you up on a cloud. We'll soul travel together to a whorehouse. Let's soul travel to the strip club, baby. It could be fun, I guess. I don't know. Agree to meet outside the body a few minutes later. I'm sorry. I'm going to try to get through this without laughing. Then watch carefully as your mate steps free of the physical body and enters the spiritual one in a burst of radiant light. Please tell me, guys, if you're in this cult, if you've done this with your spouse, let me know. Do you see this? Does this happen? One always goes out of the body when he falls asleep, but it is an unconscious act. In soul travel, so apparently REM is a soul travel, I guess. In soul travel, the only difference is that we are trying to get out of the body in full awareness. The moment soul leaves the body, it finds itself in a blue-gray zone near the physical plane. This zone is an approach to the astral plane, the takeoff, if you will. The sensation of moving from the physical to the astral body is like slipping through a large iris of mild wind currents. This iris is a spiritual eye, which again, if you don't remember, your spiritual eye is above your nose in between your eyebrows there, your third eye. Soul enters this neutral zone of blue-gray tones. Neutral zone of blue-gray tones in its astral form. A sheath which looks like 1,000 sparkling stars. Maybe it's just the night sky. We'll never know. The buffer zone or corridor between the physical and lower astral planes resembles the underground silo of an enormous rocket that is perhaps 200 feet in diameter and more than 2,000 feet deep. The ceiling of this circular pocket is open and may display a brilliant canopy of white light, or you may see a night sky sprinkled with specks of twinkling stars, like whatever. Whichever you see. You know what? If you see Elon Musk's face up there even, that's it, okay? It's just whatever you see up there on the ceiling, that's what you're supposed to see. There may even be a pastoral scene by a river, see, whose waters murmur their pleasure at light. They're like, oh man, I really fucking love being this stream. Yeah, let's do with a wave. Whatever scene is displayed in the opening of the vast ceiling, soul is drawn toward it, again with the capital it, at a mighty speed. Most people begin to recall their dreams only after their departure from this launching zone between the two worlds and after their arrival at a faraway destination on the astral plane. All right, so now that we know about the lobby of soul travel, we can continue on. Around the room, this spiritual exercise uses the imaginative body. Take a seat in a chair. You guys doing this, by the way? I want you all doing this. Take a seat in a chair. Make yourself comfortable. Then say, I shall go for a short walk in the soul body
If you guys want, you can go on TikTok and you can watch a whole bunch of teenagers doing this, by the way, although they use it to go to Hogwarts. Close your eyes and look into the spiritual eye in a soft, sweet, gentle way. So I'm fucked because I'm just a huge bitch. Sing you for a moment or two. And then imagine yourself getting up. So you want to sit there, you're in a chair, you go, I'm going to go for a walk in my soul body. And then you go, for 2 fucking minutes. Good luck with that. If I were doing this contemplation, I will say, I will get out of the chair in the soul body and walk in front of the table. I will become very integrated in the things around me, such as the color of the tablecloth, flowers in the vase, or whatever else is in your house, I guess. Just pick some furniture and that's it. Yay! While the physical body is still in contemplation, with its eyes shut, which again, I don't know why we're doing this in quotations now all of a sudden. This whole thing's in quotations now, but okay. I will walk in the imaginative body to look at the curtains. I will touch the curtains and notice how nice this beautiful yellow cloth feels. Become curious. Oh, I'm already curious enough. We don't need me to become any more curious. And decide to see what's beneath the curtain. Like this isn't already your house. Like you're not the one that installed the goddamn curtain in the window to begin with. Observe the floor beneath the curtain and pay very close attention to every little detail, everyone. Now, go over to the door and turn the knob, because I'm assuming that you're in the main room of your house, or that there's a door with a knob wherever you are. Okay? Okay. Notice what the doorknob looks like. Study the doorknob. Become one with the doorknob. Fuck. I'm trying so hard. Notice what the doorknob looks like. Before you open the door, say, on the other side, I'm going to see the inner master. And then I'm sure you just open the door and there he is. Then open the door. Sure enough, he's there. Look at that. Oh, fuck my life. And he says, are you ready to go yet? You dumb, slow bitch. What's taking you so long? I told you didn't have to do your makeup and do your hair. Oh, no, wait. That's just what my husband says. Never mind. Let's take a walk outside. And by the way, no, I'm joking. My husband does not say that to me. Although he does make fun of me sometimes because I'll be like, I got to throw on some cover up before I go to the store. And he'll be like, why? You're just going to you went yesterday without it on. And I'll be like, well, maybe I'm not feeling like doing that today. Okay. Meh. So there's that. But just, Lord. So you're supposed to sit in a chair, close your eyes, kind of get into that state between dream and awakeness, if you will, kind of like you're meditating, and then talk yourself through your spirit leaving your physical body and then walking around your room. Which, by the way, I'm sure you could just imagine yourself doing this because you're doing it in your own house. And as I pointed out, you're the one that installed the curtains there. You probably know what your house looks like. I could close my eyes right now and picture everything in this room. But again, I do have a photographic memory, which really fucking sucks sometimes. So maybe that's why. But for the most part, people could close their eyes and they could see their room. You know, like you were just looking at it. You're good. A lot of this is just imagination, which of course brings us on to the imaginative technique. Because if we just say that there's one of those, then every time that you have like a imagination or memories or something, then we gotta say it's soul travel, and it has to do with this. With the imaginative technique for soul travel, you imagine a scene, and you are there in the soul body. Again, I'm going to point out a lot of teenagers right now are doing this. And where are they imagining? For some reason, it's fucking Hogwarts. I don't know why everybody wants to go and like see Harry Potter and have like Draco like come and cast a spell on them and try to kill them or something. But anyway, I regress. It may feel as though you are moving along very quickly. And this is why it is perceived as travel. Actually, it is the process of changing the setting around you. Actually, it's you losing your damn mind. To practice this, you can take a scene from your memories and control the actions in it. For example, imagine the sea beating against on a beach. Just beating that beach. Imagine the sea just beating that beach. Now try to see the sea as being as still as lake water. Try it on things you know by stilling or stopping actions. You may experience a rushing sound, like wind in a tunnel, and a sensation of moving incredibly fast, which they've already said to us on a few occasions, but okay, thank you again. So, yeah, apparently you can even do this with scenes, memories, and you can even soul travel to places that you choose. A spiritual exercise for while you sleep, because damn it, if you're in this cult, do you think that you can just go to bed and get a good night's sleep? You better be doing spiritual exercises while you sleep. All right, this soul travel, this journey closer to God never quits. Even when you want to, go to sleep. If you wish to soul travel while you're asleep, remind yourself of this several times during the day. For example, say to yourself, tonight I will soul travel in my dream. Yep, no, it says that apparently. Your mind will accept ideas that are repeated more readily than ideas that are not repeated. And that's why we really like repetition here in this cult, to further indoctrinate and manipulate you into believing that all of this stuff is real. Visualize the kind of dream you want to have as thought it were already happening, because we don't edit when we do these books either. He means as though it were already happening. Damn it, Harold. After you have pictured the dream, picture the results. Try playing a movie scene in your mind of how you will feel when you have the advice or help you seek from the dream master. The law of attraction is also very much believed in this. And of course, guys, what is the last page? The chart. I just want to show it to you again. This is the chart. The worlds of Eck. The worlds of Eck. I love their air quotes around the name Anne. It's like he's telling us she is a figment, right? It's like this person doesn't exist. It's just Anne. She's not really here, though. Anne's probably made it all the way up to the top of this chart by now. I bet you anything she has. So I need to go and grab a quick little drink. And then we are going to get into why all of this is a bunch of bull hooey. A bunch of bull hooey. A whole bunch of it. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to put on my stream intro again quickly. I'm going to go grab a drink. And then we are going to have a little talk about how soul travel doesn't freaking exist. Okay, sorry. Thank you. Told you I wouldn't be long. So, of course, whenever I'm researching these belief systems, I always like to wrap up the stream, if you will, with some research into how true is this? Can you soul travel? Is soul traveling real? Can we do this? Is it a thing? So, of course, we have sort of talked about astral projection in the past. But since we are doing this deep dive, I feel like we just need to quickly go through it all again. So, let's have a little talk now about astral projection, where the ideas all come from, and all the past religions it's been used in, and then the scientific evidence it ain't real. On the wiki. Just so that I can piss off my haters by using wiki is basically all I'm doing here. So astral projection is also known as astral travel, and that is what this soul traveling is it's astral projection. And it describes an intentional out-of-body experience, which we have talked a bit about out-of-body experiences. That assumes the existence of a subtle body called an astral body, through which consciousness can function separately from the physical body and travel throughout the astral planes. And again, this is an idea. It is ancient and occurs in multiple cultures. The modern terminology of astral projection was coined and promoted by 19th century theosophists. It is sometimes reported in association with dreams and forms of meditation, which next week we are going to be talking about that. We are going to be talking about what they believe in terms of dreams, meditation, and all the like. So make sure you come hang out then too. Some individuals have reported perceptions similar to descriptions of astral projection that were induced through various hallucinogenic and hypnotic means, including self-hypnosis, which might be a little bit of what's going on here. I'm just saying. There is no scientific evidence. There is no scientific evidence. I'm going to say it again. There is no scientific evidence that there is a consciousness whose embodied functions are separate from normal neural activity, or that one can consciously leave the body and make observations of the physical universe. And astral projection has been characterized as a drumroll pseudoscience. That's right, which I also cover. By the way, basically my whole channel is just pseudoscience and cults, and then odd comedy here and there, and me yelling at people. So as you can see, it comes from ancient Egypt. Similar concepts of soul travel appear in various other religious traditions. For example, ancient Egyptian teachings present the soul, Ba, as having the ability to hover outside the physical body via the Ka, or subtle body. Judaic and Christian origins. Carrington, Muldoon, Peterson, and Williams claim that the subtle body is attached to the physical body by means of a physical silver cord, or psychic silver cord, sorry. The final chapter of the book of Ecclesiastes, because I can never say this fucking word, is often cited in this respect. Before the silver cord be loosed, now I'm just going, or the golden bowl be broken, or the pitcher be shattered at the fountain, or the wheel be broken at the cistern. Sherman, however, contends that the context points to this being merely a metaphor, comparing the body to a machine, with the silver cord referring to the spine. Paul's second epistle in the Corinthians is more generally agreed to refer to the astral planes. I know a man in Christ who 14 years ago was caught up to the third heaven. Whether it was in the body or out of the body, I do not know. God knows. This statement gave rise to the Visio Pauli, a tract that offers a vision of heaven and hell, a forerunner of visions attributed to Adomnan and whatever that word is, as well as of Dante's Divine Comedy. So, again, this is why I say if you are in other religions, in other cultures, it would be very easy for Eckankar to then come and scoop you up and say, well, we do that over here. Western esotericism. According to the classical, medieval, Renaissance, Hermeticism, Neoplatonism, and later Theosophist and Rosicrucian, thought the astral body is an intermediate body of light, linking the rational soul to the physical body, while the astral plane is an intermediate world of light between heaven and earth, composed of the spheres of the planets and stars. These astral spheres were held to be populated by angels, demons, and spirits. In the Neoplatonism of Plotinus, for example, the individual is a microcosm, small world of the universe, or great world. The rational soul is akin to the great soul of the world, while the material universe, like the body, is made as a faded image of the intelligible. Each succeeding plane of manifestation is causal to the next, a worldview known as emanationism. From the one proceeds intellect, from intellect soul, and from soul in its lower phase, or that of nature, the material universe. The idea of the astral figured prominently in the work of the 19th century French occultist Eliphas Levi, whence it was adopted and developed further by theosophy and used afterwards by other esoteric movements. The subtle bodies and their associated planes of existence form an essential part of some esoteric systems that deal with astral phenomena. Often these bodies and their planes of existence are depicted as a series of concentric circles or nested spheres with a separate body traversing each realm. Hinduism, Taoist, Japanese, I'm not going to read all of them, you guys will hate me. Japanese mythology, right? So as you can see, there is like a lot of other cultures and religions that do believe in this. So like I said, it is not hard. It is not hard for Harold Klemp and Eckankar to come over here and take this and then be like, oh yes, we do that here. We do that all here. So basically he has stolen astral projection from all of these other religions and cultures and then made it like his own, where he's then created his own astral planes that one must work up to in order to be closer to God. A lot of these religions and cultures and stuff, they have astral planes. It just doesn't tend to be put out like a pyramid scheme, if you will. Dragons appear in multiple cultures, so do werewolves. Doesn't make either one real, right? Same with witches. Hey, I got a whole bunch of witches that are always trying to cancel me because they're like, listen, witchcraft is real, queen. We cast spells on people. It's a real thing. You know. I got knocked out once and floated above myself for a minute. Astral plane is real. It was so weird. I was literally watching myself get stomped out but felt no pain. Come to and didn't have a bruise or mark on me. Why go live if you're just going to yell at Wikipedia? Well, we actually deep dove all of Eckankar and their soul travel beliefs. I'm just coming here because it is one of the best places to come that talks about scientific reception and lists some of the other religions and cultures that believe in astral projection or soul travel, as you will. And I have actually done an entire deep dive on soul travel, astral planes and out-of-body experiences. And you can go check that out because I talk about in that what you actually experienced instead of going into the astral planes. Because here it says, scientific reception. There is no scientific evidence that astral projection as an objective phenomenon exists. There are cases. See, and this is where we get into what you're experiencing, right? There are cases of patients having experiences suggestive of astral projection from brain stimulation treatments and hallucinogenic drugs such as ketamine, which is special K, I don't even know what that is, and DMT. Big druggie I am. Robert Todd Carroll writes that the main evidence to support claims of astral travel is anecdotal and comes in the form of testimonials of those who claim to have experienced being out of their bodies when they may have been out of their minds. Subject in parapsychological experiments have attempted to project their astral bodies to distant rooms and see what was happening. However, such experiments haven't produced clear results. According to Bob Bruce of the Queensland Skeptics Association, I like that place, astral projection is just imagining or a dream state. Bruce writes that the existence of an astral plane is contrary to the limits of science. We know how many possibilities there are for dimensions, and we know what the dimensions do. None of it correlates with things like astral projection. Bruce attributes astral experiences such as meetings alleged by practitioners to confirmation bias and coincidences. Psychologist Donovan Rockcliffe has written that astral projections can be explained by delusion, hallucination, and vivid dreams. Author W. Wiggins, writing in Quantum Leaps in the Wrong Direction, Where Real Science Ends and Pseudoscience Begins, great book, go get it and read it actually, said that purported evidence of this ability to astral travel great distances and give descriptions of places visited is predominantly anecdotal. In 1978, Ingo Swann provided a test of his alleged ability to astral travel to Jupiter and observe details of the planet. Actual findings and information were later compared to Swann's claimed observations. According to an evaluation by James Randi, Swann's accuracy was unconvincing and unimpressive, with an overall score of 37%. Wiggins considers astral travel an illusion and looks to neuroanatomy, human belief, imagination, and prior knowledge to provide prosaic explanations for those claiming to experience it. So, with all that in mind, I do not believe that people are doing soul travel here in Eckankar. Yeah, again, it's go watch my out of body experience one if you want to actually deep dive the out of body experience thing a little more, because it sounds like what you had was more of an out of body experience where you were looking down on yourself, which is a tiny little bit different from this, but not far off, if that makes sense. Today's topic is Eckankar soul travel, and I do not believe that this can happen. I believe that soul travel is just a way for Harold Klemp and anyone in this cult to, again, help people move up in this chart. And in order to move up in this chart, you have to do these soul travel and these singing Hugh and all these different exercises. In order to learn how to get good at all of that, you have to take those master classes. In order to do that, you have to pay money. I don't think that if he actually cared about helping people and getting them to closer to heaven, if this was all real, that he would actually charge money for this stuff. You would think it would all just be free information and whatnot, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me. And because of that, I do strongly believe it's just another manipulation tactic. Everything's so generalized, as you saw here. It really is. So that no matter what, like you have a dream, you go to sleep, you have a dream, let's say, right? And you remember your dream when you wake up, and you mention that to these people, they'll tell you that you had a soul travel experience. It wasn't a dream. You actually went and hung out with those people just in an astral plane. It's not a real thing. You cannot sit on a chair, close your eyes, picture yourself going to Hogwarts, and then go hang out with Harry Potter. So stop doing that and then posting yourself on TikTok doing that, because it's not a thing. And see, this is where these belief systems tend to stem from. because it's very hard to tell people that this stuff is a pseudoscience and it's not real, and tell teenagers they can't actually go visit Hogwarts and all this stuff when we have this man out here running a cult telling people that soul travel is real and giving these directions on how to do it. I'm just saying, if you needed someone to blame for all those TikToks, I've given you your dude. All right, this dude's the one doing it. He's the one bringing this pseudoscience all the way back. And I don't think it's right. Because again, it's just to run a cult. You saw him. He's creepy. Little creepy. You know? The comedian Sinbad has a podcast where he talks about this stuff, and he met a bunch of what he described as shadow demons, so he stopped. Mad interesting interview. Shadow demons also do not exist. They are not real. There is no such thing as demons. But don't worry, we'll get into that on this channel future. So that's all I have for you today. I've been going for almost 2.5 hours. I feel like that is literally all of the information about soul travel and astral planes and what Eckankar provides you with when you join this cult. That's all the information that they give you. And then they say, okay, now come and join the classes and do these spiritual exercises and pay me money if you want to actually work up those astral planes and get close to God, so that after this life, instead of having to come back and live another life to do all this again, you actually do get to go spend time in the kingdom of heaven and maybe even become an Eckmaster in the Mahanta. Who knows? I mean, if you do come back, you'll come back as one of those. So, hey, all the power to you. But again, the ultimate goal is to go live in the kingdom of heaven, as it often is in religions. Which, again, there's nothing wrong with believing in that. Just be careful. Be careful out there. Make sure that, you know, your belief system stays your belief system and that it stays something innocent, doesn't get you involved in a cult that is then bleeding you of all of your money to take classes. You must not know any of my ex-girlfriends. No demons. I can do that too. I can be like, oh, my ex-boyfriends, they all demons before I married. You know, there's a reason why I married this dude, not them. I can tell you that much. But they ain't real. And again, we'll get into that. Joe says, if I wanted to scam people, this sounds like an easy way to do it. And that's the thing, is that a lot of these religion cults, that's what it is. They go, I really don't want to pay my taxes. I mean, Jim Jones literally started his cult because he didn't want to pay his damn taxes. All right. That was started because he didn't want to pay taxes. He wanted to be a cult leader. Heaven's Gate pretty much started for the same thing. Right? They'll like write a sci-fi book, for example, and then they'll be like, now that I got this sci-fi book with all these weird beliefs, I don't want to pay taxes, and it'd be kind of cool to, like, you know, be a high chief of a cult. So I'm just going to create this religion, and we'll just say astral planes and get people to work up this pyramid scheme thing and pay me money to get closer to the top. And there we go. I'll just go around, do some speeches, collect a bunch of dough. Everyone will praise me. I just got to lie to them and tell them that they come and visit me when they do soul travel every once in a while. And I wave to them when they're in their soul bodies. It'll be great. They'll come and ask me for advice. I'll just give them general advice. And then I get to write a bunch of e-booklets. Lots of fun. And that's what I believe this is. And of course, he is preying on anyone he can. And that's why you don't have to change your religion. But as I pointed out, there's a lot of religions that don't really believe in this stuff. Even if they believe in a soul and an afterlife, they don't believe in astral planes, and they don't believe in all of that crap, right? L. Rod started Scientology because he hated lawyers, and he also did not want to pay taxes. He actually said that. L. Ron Hubbard is one of those people that literally came out and was like, I started this church because I didn't want to pay my taxes. All right, those taxes, fuck that. And if you ever wanted to know about the Illuminati, let me tell you all something. You want to know if there's an Illuminati? There is in Hollywood. It is Scientology. You're welcome. The Church of Doctor Who, the Church of Mr. Rogers is what we'll call this one, Joe. We'll just call this one the Church of Mr. Rogers, of the evil Mr. Rogers. But yeah, imagine joining this thing, and this is all the information that you're given about how to do this, and then you're told to do it. To be fair, you also have to think of being in a group of people. Is everyone who's coming out and claiming that they've experienced this someone that's actually experienced it? Or, like in many groups, are we seeing a situation where a few might actually claim to experience it, and then other people are just claiming they did? Like, oh, yeah, I had an experience like that too. And then they make up a story, like, you know, how he made up Anne there. We see that in a group. The peer pressure, the wanting to fit in. And in a cult, there's always an us versus them mentality that he has here. Like when you do soul travel and you're working on all these planes and all this, you are a knower. You are better than everybody else in the world because you know things and you've experienced things that nobody else has. And you have all these different lives and future lives. Right? And so you fall into that. It's easy for people when looking for an answer to problems, or people like myself that just like to know why the world is the way it is and why things are the way they are. Why do people do what we do, and etc. Apparently it's an autism thing. I don't freaking know. Literally, we fall into things like that more easily because we're told that, hey, this is where you will find those answers. I will give you those answers. I will tell you how to get there. All you have to do is sit in a chair and imagine yourself walking around your room as a soul and come and listen to some speeches and then pay money for classes. And bing, bang, boom, you're going to heaven. Woo! Yeah, you know, people fall for it very easily. So I like to come out here and talk about it so that I can combat the beliefs for fun. Gotta feel the vibes. I don't like groups so much. Neither do I. We are an anti-cult, anti-group, anti-influencer channel. I hate everybody. So welcome here. So that's all I have for us today, though. Welcome. We are now ending the stream. I hope that was enough information for all of you. Like I said, I didn't speed him up or anything because I wanted you guys in all of his glory. In the intros and stuff, you know, I cut out a lot of his pauses, believe it or not, and that kind of thing. But today I really wanted you guys to get a sense of who he is as a person. So tomorrow I am going to be releasing an e-booklet review of his book on divine creation. And then next week, we are going to be looking into dream states and what Eckankar believes about those and how you attain one and what it has to do with soul travel and getting closer to the Ek and blah, 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 blah. Because we are deep diving this whole thing. I have joined this cult to be able to deep dive it. And I plan on taking the classes to be able to deep dive it. And I've gone to a Hue meeting, which was very, very strange, by the way. It was very, very strange to watch people on a screen all together doing Hue together. I'll show you one day. Don't worry. You'll be creeped out. And I want to know this thing inside and out because there are not enough people talking out about this at all. Not enough. A lot of people are in this thing. A lot of people are looking to Harold Klemp like he is the answer to everyone's problems. And that's not okay. Everyone have a good day. Think he did put me to sleep. Did you soul travel though, Joe? That's what I'm more interested in. So yes, no matter where you are, what you're doing, I hope that you all have a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous day. Take care, and I'll see you all tomorrow with an Eckankar book review because I plan on deep diving this entire thing, figuring the whole thing out, figuring all about Paul and Harold there and who they are and what they're about and what they doing and what are we all doing here. Why should you join Eckankar? Well, I'm going to find out why nobody should join Eckankar, and then I'll let all of you know, and I hope you're getting it as we go along. So take care, have a fabulous day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Mwah. Bye! And remember, don't join a fucking cult!